this is the segment a lot of y'all been waiting for.
And then Hall debuts May 27th in WCW, and then Nash joins him as the Outsiders and Dash at the Beach. That's where it starts. Hogan turns heel.
Yeah.
Now, what were you doing during this time when you saw this all coming together? Were you removed from these guys, or were you still in touch with everybody?
Well, interesting. So I'm glad you picked this because there's a bit of a story to it. And, even before I show up and do the thing where, I got that little remote thing and all the
in September. That happened in September, right?
Yeah, but it's the story leading up to that. It's interesting because as we just mentioned during the curtain call, I was in rehab, so I missed out on that. Maybe thankfully so. But, considering what happened with Hunter.
A lot went down.
Yeah, originally. Like the plan was going to be, I would have been the first guy to sign, or we would all, the three of us would have signed together.
Wow.
And I probably would have came out because there
was him.
On all the WWF contracts at the time, and I'm pretty sure they still have this. If you don't give notice within 90 days of your contract expiring, it rolls over. So I had the meeting with Barry Bloom in LA and what he's told me about Eric, Bischoff, having the blank checkbook basically. And
so spending a lot of money.
Yeah. So I got on the phone with Scott Hall from Barry Bloom's office and started the whole thing rolling.
No kidding.
Yeah. And so, our plan between us would have been me first, Scott, and then Kev. But it just didn't work out because I didn't give my notice, so I was screwed. And so I was stuck there, and they were punishing me. They could say they weren't, but I was in the doghouse big time. Trust me. And I was miserable. So we got back from this long tour of Europe, and it was the last tour for Kevin and Scott. We had a hell of a time. I didn't sleep for many, many days in a row. many days in a row. And I got back and we went to TVs and I OD'd at TV on pills.
Oh, shoot.
And but I used to pop into the production meetings occasionally. And I just so happened to OD in the production meeting.
Wow.
Yeah. So anyways.
I'm sure that didn't go over.
That's why I ended up in rehab. And that's why I missed the curtain call.
Now, did they release you? Is that what happened? How did that go down?
So Vince put me through rehab, and he paid me great. I got paid more while I was in rehab than I did if I had been just working, the towns. I finished rehab, and Vince was real supportive the whole time. And he brings me in. He flies me in to have a meeting with me to talk about my future. And we did the whole thing. I show up, and I sat out in the lobby for hours. I mean, hours. Finally got in there, and Vince is like, "Hey, I know you're clean or whatever, but if you think you can get a better deal for you and your family by working for that billionaire asshole," those were his exact words, I'll give you a week to think about it and let me know.
Wow.
Yeah. So I knew that's what I had to do, but man, that was one hard week because it was so, because I felt like that was my family. I felt like my life was so intertwined with WWE, man.
And they gave you your first break, man. They really pushed you. I mean, that 1, 2, 3 kid deal was just but
it was time to go.
Family for you. Yeah.
Yeah, but it was time to go. So I called JJ and I told him, and WCW brought me into Sturgis for the night that I think Hogan and Giant worked.
Mm-hmm.
And it was kind of touch and go. I might have debuted then. But they got the release and they didn't like the wording. And so anyways, eventually we got it right. And that's when I show up.
And you show up, I think it was September the 16th or so of that year, 96. And you're sitting in the front row.
Yeah.
And so that was like, holy smokes, look who's here, And
then
you push the remote and all the flyers come down from the ceiling and you're in.
Yeah. So I remember I had this I remember I got a perm because I was trying to grow my mullet out. So I had this big perm and I was wearing a Doors shirt. It said break on through. And it had Jim Morrison doing like this. The fact that I was going to be part of the NWO, like, honestly, I just felt like that. Me sitting in the front row there had that little, 30 seconds with Mike Tenay.
Yeah.
And I stood up on the thing. Like, honestly, I didn't think much thought was put into that. I was grateful.
Yeah.
I was really grateful it was just something to get me in the NWO.
Yeah. Looking back, you think it could have been done a little better.
Well, I just think they had a lot going on. And
yeah. Well, there was. I mean, it was like incredible. I mean, once the invasion took place, so to speak, once the outsiders came in and Hogan turned, I mean, it was like heat that I hadn't seen in wrestling in a really long time, with people throwing shit into the ring and then you show up and everybody knew of your association with those guys, so it was a great integration. Yeah.
So, and I think it was Kevin Sullivan's idea, and Kevin's in my book, and Kevin Scott, our book, he's a genius.
He is a genius. Concerned. Always has been.
Yeah. It's just that one didn't quite work. Yeah. I mean, maybe it worked, but it wasn't like a big home run or anything.
Yeah, I got you there.
Because I think the vision, in their minds, I think they felt like it was gonna, the Flyers were gonna come down faster or whatever. But anyways, it didn't. But I was in.